Okay, everyone, welcome to the Stock Pick Profits market update. So while we're letting everybody get signed in, we'll talk about the legalities. Always read the disclaimer. Past performance is no indicator of future performance. We're not registered investment advisors. We're not certified. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing in this show is an offer to buy or sell any securities. And read the fine print. Okay. So let's see, we'll give everybody a chance to sign on here. So let's go ahead and get started. It's Friday and everybody's a little tired. So the day started off really good, right? About 2 hours before the market opened, futures were up nice and green. Looked like it was going to be a strong day. Microsoft had great earnings last night. GE had some decent earnings before the bell. Showed they got some strength that people didn't expect. We're going to wait to see what that conference call comes out and what their guidance looks like before we make any decisions on GE. So really the day started out with Trump versus the Fed, right? That was the first thing. Trump unhappy, worried about 2 more rate hikes, kind of voiced that on Twitter. As usual, everybody went into an uproar. Anytime Trump does anything that's even remotely out of the ordinary, it's a world crisis, and this was no different. So that put a little damper on the market. And then we had the interview with Joe Kiernan, where he said he's prepared to go forward with $500 billion more of tariffs. Now, that pretty much includes everything on the Chinese list. So it's an interesting interview. If you actually go watch the interview, it's kind of, you could take it out of context, you could keep it in context, depending on what you really it just depended on your opinion of Donald Trump. So it didn't seem like it was that bad. It seemed like it was a off the top of my head thought, but we'll see. So that's the trade talk. You know, basically they're at an impasse, and it seems like the problem is that China's not coming to the table. So Trump is kind of trying to build his leverage so he can force China to the table. China, of course, can devalue the yuan, which will help combat those tariffs and things. So it's an interesting situation. It's going to take a while to develop. It's a news cycle item right now. It's not really hitting much, but we'll see how it goes going forward. But the savior to the market was Microsoft. Microsoft had blowout earnings last night. Looks like it's trekking on its way to become $1 billion company. So that'll be interesting, right? We keep an eye on Microsoft. They had great growth in their cloud computing. They had great growth in their AI. They have one division in cloud computing, which actually showed just massive gains in the sales. So, you know, it was a long week this week. It was a lot of trading. There was a lot of rally. There was a lot of up and down. You know, it was emotionally draining and stuff. You know, we talk about it all week. We had some options expired today. You know, we always tell you we don't win every trade, and we had some wash today. 2 of them were bank plays that just got close but never materialized. You know, we had that nice run up after those Bank of America earnings on Monday, followed through with some other good earnings, and it just never materialized. Thursday, we had kind of a little problem in the market, and banks kind of sold down a little bit, and that just killed those options. Today was OPEX day, which is witching day. Monthlies, weeklies, and I believe some futures options were expiring today. So it kind of put the whole market in a no man's land. There was a huge amount of $280 calls that were sitting on the market today. Whether those were exercised or not, you know, a penny over 280 on the SPY, the ETF for the S&P 500, and those are executable. So it would be interesting to see what people did with that, especially considering that a lot of people are expecting next week with some big earnings coming up. We've got Google and we've got few big tech earnings coming up. Guess what? People are expecting a shot at that new high, that all-time high. So we'll see how that goes. You know, going into next week, looking at the market, yeah, it's still a little bit of caution, right? Because we still got this, we get the, we've got Donald Trump out there, and we know he's not happy. He's not excited about 2 more rate hikes. It's hard to kind of characterize this because Jerome Powell is his choice for the Fed chairman, and Jerome Powell is a good man, and he's very, very good at what he does, and it doesn't look like he'd ever be influenced by anything the administration says. He's still going to do what's right for the economy and stuff. But there's always the implication that what if he does decide not to do two rate cuts? Will people turn around and say, oh, Trump influenced him and stuff? So it's a tough job. So we've got this little small black cloud kind of lingering, but we've got really beautiful skies other than that. So, you want to be in the game, but you just don't want to, don't do anything crazy, okay? Right now, probably the best strategy is stay away from your high speculation stocks and kind of stick with those stocks that are strong. Right now, we've still got some plays on the board. We told you yesterday we went long on the spiders, and we're still in that play, and we're happy with it. It's right around break even. We're expecting some good moves from it next week. On some of our bigger portfolios, we played a little bit of the Microsoft overnight, and it was just it moved so fast that we didn't put it out as a service, but some of our better clients got in that play, and it was a huge one. Next week, there's a lot of opportunity for plays like that, and we put out a memo to our service today about that, saying to be ready for next week, because it looks like we're going to get some good opportunities for some quick money. Now, if you're not in on that and you want to get in on that, you know where to go. The other thing is GE reported this morning. Now, GE was an interesting story, right? Now, this is the darling of all funds, all your pensions and stuff. I don't think anybody knows anybody my age that has a retirement portfolio that doesn't have some kind of exposure to GE in it. It's an important stock. And so this earnings report was important, and it wasn't as bad as people thought. Going forward is the big question, though. How's that dividend going to hold out? That's what's critical to all these pension portfolios and stuff. How's that going to turn out? Is it ripe for a trade? It might be, maybe it's at a bottom. It didn't do too well today. It was down a little bit for the day. Kind of all over the place, typical earnings day stock. So, it was a long week. So you guys enjoy the weekend, all of you. It was really a really long week, and we'll get right to that question there. Let's kind of finish this. And so, it was a long week, a lot of up and down. So you guys enjoy the weekend, but going into the weekend, let's talk about things a little bit. We ended up down a little bit, about a half percentage point across the board. The Russell 2K was still strong, up about 0.5%. The VIX still under 13, right? We've been talking about that. And if the VIX is going to stay around that $12 range, then we're not in a big danger market. We'll get little dips, but probably not sell-offs. And that's the way we treated yesterday's dip. Now, with the Trump talk going on today, we got a second dip. So it didn't quite work out as fast as we wanted, but we're still very confident in the play. All right, let's talk about money. Don't we like talking about money? Let's talk about wealth building. And that's our saying for the day. It was Henry David Thoreau, is an incredible writer. His saying is, wealth is the ability to fully experience life. And that is truly the story right there. Now, you ask everybody, they have different opinions of what wealth is, right? You ask one guy, it's $1 million. You ask another guy, it's $1 billion. You ask another guy, it might be a beautiful house with a great car and a fantastic family. Everybody's got their different idea of what wealth constitutes wealth, true wealth. At Financial Reboot and Stock Pick Profits, we like to say wealth is quality of life, right? Do you have the things? And this saying, let's close the Friday on this, because this is a great saying. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. Look, if you got $10, if you got $1 million, if you're doing what you want and you're living life on your terms and everything is hunky-dory, you're wealthy. You got your health, you got your wealth, right? That's the old saying. But anyways, let's kind of go down and let's check out the old questions this morning. It looks like we've got one. Oh, there you go. Let's see. Samuel, welcome, Samuel. Today, the president had a big meeting with heads of huge companies to talk about jobs coming back to the U.S., Lockheed Martin. Yeah, he's doing this all the time now. He's 110% intent on bringing jobs back to the country. That involves bringing a lot of these companies that started operating on foreign turf because of tax benefits or whatever. It's all about getting them back home on the shores and getting that money, that tax revenue and all that back into our system. It's important. It's important. This is a great comment, Samuel. And, that's what Trump's all about, right? Trump's all about blowing up that economy. He talked a little bit about the stock market today, but like he said, we've got these big gains from when he was elected. The market's still up very strong from when he was elected. I think it was what I had notes on it, but I think it was a certain more than half the stocks are up more than 20%. So since Trump was elected. So you can't argue with that, right? Proof's in the pudding. And this is how he's doing it. That's great, Samuel, that you brought that up, because of all the Trump stories today, you didn't really see much about this, but he did. He had the huge companies in there, mega companies, like you said, Lockheed Martin, which is aerospace, big on aerospace, right? Right up there with Raytheon and everybody. Home Depot, probably your biggest retailer in America next to Walmart. Ford Motors, one of your biggest car companies, right? And actually influential, GM and Ford, right? And there's just big things. And that's what it is. He knows, look, we get a little fluctuation today because somebody didn't like what he said about the interest rates. We get a little fluctuation yesterday because he said something about this or that. The point is, we are marching higher and the economy is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that plays kind of into that trade war. One of Trump's biggest advantages, probably his real big advantage, is the fact that the U.S. economy is on fire right now, and it looks like it's going to stay on fire for a while. So he can wait it out, okay? China is an economy that's kind of going into this cycle where it's kind of slowing down. Things are slowing down. With this pressure that Donald Trump's putting on them, things aren't as easy as they were before. So, the United States is really, really moving up. It's really, really moving fast. Trump's right. We're playing with house money. If there's ever a time to address all these trade deficits and all these little issues, it's now, when you have a strong economy to fall back on. You have to have a strong backbone, and that's the economy. Now you can take care of all these little things. He's right. You gotta strike when the iron's hot. So let's give him a chance. Let's see if these programs work out, because the guys, art of the deal and all that stuff. Let's see. Let's put it to the test. Okay. So before you guys start that anti-Trump, pro-Trump, whatever Trump, just remember that he's working on this agenda. It looks good so far, so good. The trade wars. It just depends on who you talk to. That's all. The market is higher today than it was last Friday. Last Friday was higher today than the previous Friday. It's constantly moving up. Yes, you have fluctuations. Nothing goes straight up, right? And the market's included. And you bet Walmart just made that big commitment. There's actually 5 or 6 companies that made these huge commitments, but Walmart got a lot of press for it. 1 million new jobs. Great. Walmart's probably a good company to work for, right? I mean, it's you learn a lot and all that. It's great. And also too with Walmart, you think about it. Walmart is one of your key retailers, right? If Walmart sales are doing good, that means people are spending money. Everybody shops at Walmart, right? It's no different in Hawaii than it probably is where you are. So Walmart's doing good. It's very, very indicative of the economy, and the economy is doing good. We need people to make money. We need people to spend money. Now, yes, we have little problems. We have wage inequalities, things like that. One of the most humorous statements we saw this week was when this girl Ocasio, the one that won in the Bronx, that's the heavy progressive, they were talking to her about economies and stuff like that, and she just didn't even understand what an economy is and stuff. It's real important right now for everybody to understand that the economy is doing well. The tax reform looked like it did well. There's another one coming down the line, right? There's a second half to that. Let's see how this plays out. Let's put our emotions on the side and let's use our brains, okay? And that's the way to make money in this market. So, look, guys, we're going to call it a weekend. I'll call it a week. Like we said, we closed the week off with a little bit of a sour damper. Yesterday, we cashed that X play in for about 30-something%. Today we had some washes on our options. Like we say, we don't win every trade, but we do win every year, right? And that's what matters. Again, it's wealth buildings. Don't chase ambulances. Don't get into that blinky light syndrome, okay? It's all about wealth building. Today's money should never be the same next month. and so on and so on and so on. It's all about building wealth. And if you want to know what you're building for, how much do you need? It's as simple as asking yourself this question. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. Are you experiencing life? Are you happy? Are you going to have a great weekend because you're not worried about money and stuff? If you are, then you're wealthy, right? So you guys have a great week. It was an awesome week. Closed down a little bit on a damper with those expirations, but we had some good trades in between, and we got some great trades looking forward. So you guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Thank you so much.